What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the possibility of getting a Nintendo Direct next week and why I'm basically 100% confident that it is going to be happening. Now I know what you guys are thinking, shoot, here we go again, more Nintendo Direct rumors and leaks all the time, we keep getting these but we never actually get the Direct. But let me talk to you guys about why I'm basically like 100% confident. Like I am so certain, I'm putting all my marbles into this jar that it is going to be happening next week. And the reason that I'm just so confident about this is basically every single star is lining up perfectly to get a Nintendo Direct next week. Like Nintendo has the most perfect week next week to have a Nintendo Direct, and there's really so many reasons why it's going to happen, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about in this video. Now, of course, the first thing that adds credibility to the fact that we're probably going to be getting a Nintendo Direct next week is because of the original rumor that started from VentureBeat. Now, if you guys aren't aware of this rumor, I did make an entire video about it where I really go into detail about this rumor and we read the whole article and everything. So if you guys want to take a look at that, there should be a little eye up in the corner right now. You can go ahead and tap on that or click on that if you want to go and watch that video, and then you can come back to this one, but I'll also put it in the outro of this video as well. But basically, a real quick summary of that rumor from VentureBeat was that they had a source that was telling them that a Nintendo Direct was being worked on and that it was going to be happening at the very end of March. But they also had a source that told them that Nintendo was also preparing an indie showcase, or like an indie world presentation, which was going to be happening the week before. Now, the dates that VentureBeat gave us inside of their rumor was that there was going to be an Indie World presentation which was going to be happening on March 18th, and that there was going to be a big normal Nintendo Direct on March 26th. Now, I'm not sure if these dates were also given to them from the same source that told them that there was going to be an Indie World presentation and a Nintendo Direct, or if the dates were just like their own estimates that they had from what they've heard with the information. But basically, they said that there was going to be an Indie World presentation happening this week, and the thing is, it actually did happen. So maybe some of you guys didn't know about it, but earlier this week there was a Nintendo Indie World presentation that happened, and the thing is, this happened on March 17th. Now, I know that in the rumor they said that they were expecting the Indie World presentation to happen on March 18th, but the thing is, even though it ended up happening on March 17th for most of the world, the thing that you guys have to remember is that Japan is actually ahead of us by a lot of hours, and this actually did end up happening on March 18th in terms of Japan. And so since Nintendo is a Japanese-based company, basically all of their big decisions and corporate stuff does come from Japan. So if they did get that rumor that there was going to be a Nintendo Indie presentation happening on March 18th, they probably did mean it in the Japan time. So technically, they did end up getting that part of the rumor completely correct. And so having an Indie World presentation does make a lot of sense. Indie games unfortunately just have that sad reality of not being looked as much by many people. These games don't have a huge budget of a lot of crazy things to add into their games. They also don't have a huge team of people most of the time, of like hundreds of people working on them. So a lot of times these games just don't get much attention. It is pretty sad because there can definitely be some really amazing indie games. Games like Undertale and Celeste and Hollow Knight are loved by thousands of people all around the world. But I think that some people just have that mentality of if it's an indie game, it's not going to be good, which is just not true. But the point is, it does make sense to have an Indie World presentation this week, because if Nintendo did have a Nintendo Direct first, and they showed us some like really big first party games like a new Paper Mario or like a new Mario Kart or some stuff about Breath of the Wild 2 or something like that, and then they tried to have an Indie World presentation to showcase some indie games, a lot of people wouldn't really care because those really big Nintendo games would overshadow these small indie games. And so the fact that they got this Indie World presentation out of the way does make a lot of sense if there is going to be a Nintendo Direct the week after. The next big reason is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now today is March 20th, so it is officially the day that Animal Crossing New Horizons has released all around the world, and I know that there's thousands of people right now enjoying the game, having a ton of fun, and I know my dude Zach right now, or Endgame the Cube, he keeps tweeting about it. I keep seeing his tweets all the time. He's like extremely excited about playing through the game, so it is awesome that Animal Crossing has finally come out. But with Animal Crossing being released, we finally have no idea of what other big first-party Nintendo games are going to be coming out for the rest of the year. And so I know that some people were saying that the reason that we didn't get a Nintendo Direct so far was because Nintendo was trying to make sure that Animal Crossing did have a really big launch on the Nintendo Switch. And if you think about it, there is going to be a couple of days now if a Nintendo Direct is going to be happening next week, so Animal Crossing would have a really smooth launch. There's really nothing else for people to look forward to in terms of new big games, like new first party games. Obviously you still got Xenoblade, but that's a remake. But the thing is, in terms of like really big new games, there isn't anything, so a lot of people would be trying to go out right now to get Animal Crossing. A lot of people are staying at home right now too, so Animal Crossing is the perfect game, and so there's going to be a lot of potential for Animal Crossing to have really good sales now. And so even though I didn't personally believe in this theory, like Nintendo announces big games all the time right after games are confirmed too. Like they announced Super Mario Odyssey right after Breath of the Wild was confirmed to be a launch title for the Switch. They also announced like Pokemon Sword and Shield right after the Link's Awakening remake was announced. So they announce big games close to each other all the time. So I never really believed this as the reason for not having a Nintendo Direct. But I mean, if you thought this way, now it doesn't even matter because Animal Crossing is going to be out and they can still do a Nintendo Direct. Now this next thing is also something I never really believed in myself, but it's the theory that some people had is that Nintendo was waiting to see what Sony and Xbox were going to do with their next generation systems before they were going to give us a Nintendo Direct to show us a lot of their big announcements. Now like I said, I never really believed in this theory because Nintendo has shown multiple times that they don't care what their competition is really doing. I mean, we're talking about Nintendo who decided to reveal the NX, their next generation system, the Nintendo Switch, the day that one of the most anticipated games for so many people, Red Dead Redemption 2, was going to be getting a trailer. So they really don't care when to have their announcements. But hypothetically, let's say Nintendo was waiting to see what Sony was going to do with the PlayStation 5. Now they don't have to because Sony did have a presentation. I know a couple days ago there was like a Sony presentation for the PlayStation 5 where they talked about like the architecture of that system. I know a lot of people, judging from like the responses that came afterward, it seemed like a lot of people were actually really bored of that presentation. Like it was really boring because they talked about like the architecture of the system instead. And I think they were talking about like how the games are going to be working instead and like how the system was going to be working internally rather than like just how the system looks like and how the controller looks like, which I think most people wanted to see. So I know a lot of people were saying that that presentation was really boring, but the thing is Sony did get some information about the PlayStation 5 out there, and now we probably won't hear about the PlayStation 5 for at least a few more weeks, so Nintendo does have a clean week to have a Nintendo Direct if they really did care about when Sony was giving information about the PlayStation 5. And finally, the biggest reason for why there has to be a Nintendo Direct next week is because their fiscal year is going to be ending on March 31st. See, the fiscal year for Nintendo is like their business cycle for all of their products coming out, all of the sales that they have and all that. And the thing is, if it's going to be ending on March 31st, but they have literally nothing else to show for what's going to be coming after, it's going to upset a lot of their investors and shareholders. And usually whenever their fiscal year ends, it does mean that Nintendo is going to be having a meeting really soon with their investors and shareholders, and they have to show them like what their big upcoming products and games are going to be that are going to get a lot of sales so that it gives them trust to still be invested into Nintendo. And so if they show up to this meeting and say that they have nothing besides Xenoblade Definitive Edition, some Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC, and some Smash DLC, a lot of people are going to be very, very disappointed. So there's really no way that they can get away with it. So there pretty much has to be a Nintendo Direct for them to show us what their other games are going to be for their next fiscal year. And so the VentureBeat rumor that said that there was going to be an Indie World presentation on March 18th ended up being true. Animal Crossing New Horizons has had a really smooth launch, and if something happens next week, there is going to be a good couple of days before that to have Animal Crossing sell a lot of units. A lot of people are going to be staying at home right now, so Animal Crossing is going to do very well. It's going to have a very successful launch. With the Indie World presentation, all of the indie games are now out of the way. They won't get overshadowed if there is some big first-party Nintendo games that get announced in a Nintendo Direct, so no need to worry about those. The people who are interested in indie games already got their presentation. Details about the PlayStation 5 have come out, and so now we won't be hearing about the PlayStation 5 for a few more weeks, so Nintendo has a good chunk of time to have any big announcements. And of course, the Nintendo fiscal year is going to be ending on March 31st, which means new announcements have to come out to show their investors what they have for the rest of the future. And so whether you believed in these or not, literally every single star is lined up perfectly to have a Nintendo Direct next week, and I am fully going in on it. I am fully confident that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct next week. I'm putting all my marbles into the jar. If I am wrong, you guys can definitely come back next week and roast me all you want in the comments about me being wrong. I will gladly take the L if I end up being wrong, but I am fully confident. I really do think that everything is lining up perfectly. There will be a Nintendo Direct next week. And so there you go, guys. Those are all my reasons for why I think that there will be a Nintendo Direct next week. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button and also comment down below and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that there will be a Nintendo Direct? Do you not think that there's going to be one? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Nintendo content in the future, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros, so definitely be sure to join that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.